Hi, my name is Nick Broughton and I am a Randomfish. Today, I come to you with a very realistic problem. One that many people in the world suffer from. It's a compulsion called mehness. Mehness affects us in all kinds of different ways, be it a piece of art that we can just look at and go, "Ah, it's alright, I guess," to what I'm about to talk to you about today. Movies that make us go meh. Now, movies that make us go meh is a bit of an opinionated term, don't get me wrong, but there are some films that I've noticed that many people just go meh over, despite how much it could push them in a different direction. Films like this obviously include a lot of the Disney sequels, the ones that Disney made back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now, this is something that I obviously enjoyed, given the fact that I grew up during that time period, and there are a couple there that I will defend to the death, but they're very few and far between. But the film I want to talk about today that is part of the meh crowd is this one. The Internship, starring Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Now, we all make jokes about Owen Wilson, be that in his voice, his acting demeanour, his very presence in a movie. People enjoy taking the piss out of Owen Wilson. And me? Well, I mean, he's not great, don't get me wrong. I don't think that he's a world-class actor. I mean, just look at his expression right here on the cover. Look at that. Exactly the same. What the fuck happened to you? But I don't think he's a bad actor by any sense of the imagination. I think he's had some good parts over the years. But here's the thing. In some cases, Vince Vaughn as well as Owen Wilson can be funny. They do have movies in which they are funny. Vince Vaughn, for example, did an amazing stand-up routine at one point that he travelled across the whole of the US with a whole bunch of other variously nearly unknown comedians, and managed to get a DVD out of it that called Vince Vaughn's Wild West Tour, which is a fantastic piece of DVD. And if you don't pick it up, if you don't have it, go ahead and pick it up. I think you'll find it in your local CEX for around 50p, if not about £1. But, you know, go ahead, check it out. It's fun, and it's a funny thing to watch. Owen Wilson has been in some good things as well. Drillbit Taylor, despite its very bizarre storyline and, quite frankly, debatable side characters, is actually kind of fun, and Owen Wilson is funny in it. So, these guys are not without talent. And they are not, in any way, without ability. So why is it that this movie ended up in the meh category? Well, let's take a gander. The Internship is about two salesmen, played by Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, obviously, who have their business go under because John Goodman, their boss, yes, his character actually has a name, but let's face it, John Goodman in any movie is just John Goodman. Or, you know, unless it's the character that he's playing in Big Lebowski, in which case it's just Walter. Which, quite frankly, this character has a beard in this one, he has a beard in this one, so frankly it could just be an even more elderly Walter. I don't know. I don't particularly mind to know. It's just a fun thing that I noticed. However, here's the thing. The business goes under because John Goodman decides he doesn't want it anymore. He doesn't want it, he has enough money, he's going to bugger off and go and live in Florida. As you do. And so Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson are left without jobs, and they have to go ahead and find something. And one of the jobs they end up finding and getting the opportunity to be a part of is at Google. And they go to Google Labs, whereupon they end up going in there for a summer internship that if they pass all the exams and all the tests, and they get the highest scores out of everyone there, they are offered full-time positions at Google. This is how these things work. Apparently. I mean, frankly, I'd love that opportunity, but, you know, I'm British, what the hell do I know about American culture? Oh no, wait, you've been shoving it down our throats for years. What the hell? But Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson they have reached that age in comedy now that I like to refer to as the old men, but not quite old men yet mentality. These are the roles that a lot of comedians end up in, especially when they reach that sort of 40s, 50s era age. Whereupon they end up being the guys that sit there and go, I have no idea what this is. What is this? Oh my god, all this terminology completely boggles my mind. Oh my god. It's that kind of mentality, and it's that kind of weirdness. A lot of it is like that, but some of it is legitimate. So, for example, things like writing code and understanding code. Now, I am a 20-something-year-old guy who has grown up around computers for a lot of his life. You know, my father's job was a part of messing around with computers and all that sort of thing. And I still just barely understand them. I still barely understand how to take one apart and how to put one back together. It's weird, is what it is. Research and actually looking into it would do me some good, but apparently I don't seem to think about doing that for some reason. Weird. But what I'm saying is that sometimes these things do fall out of our grasp, no matter what our age are. So that is fine. What age we are, whatever age we are, there are certain things that we just don't get. And that's fine. But here's the interesting thing. I'm only talking about Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn in this movie. But there's about 4 other characters in this. Because they have to be a part of a team. And that team is the one that, is competing for the most points. And like I said, if you have the most points at the end of the internship, you get offered a job at Google. The other 4 characters are... I don't even know the names. I barely even know the names of the actors and actresses. There's only one actor in there who I vaguely recognise, and because he's a random side character on The Big Bang Theory. That's it. But I mean, one of them is overly ambitious nerd, one of them is hipster nerd. There's the girl nerd who apparently thinks she's into really kinky stuff, but apparently only has ever read about this stuff and has had no real life experience with the relationship whatsoever. And then there's the quiet guy whose parents are incredibly controlling and he's never let loose in his entire life. And what a coincidence. In this movie, the 2 old dinosaurs who know nothing about technology, well, they can be taught technology, but they have to teach the kids on how to have a good time, and how to relax, and how to go with the flow, and these are the kind of comedies that can be a very acquired taste, and if you like them, God bless you, more power to you. But for me, the story about trying to make someone better by teaching them how to let go of a situation is not particularly effective in storytelling. At least not to my extent. Not to any extent that I'm aware of. It doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel like good storytelling. It feels very predictable. It feels very forced. I should say forced. It feels forced. And the thing that the only thing that saves it for me is 2 things. One, it's the fact that you have these 2 guys who are legitimately trying to learn everything they can learn about Google in order to give them something else to do. Because while the younger people have a bit more of an understanding about tech and how Google sort of works in terms of its generalness, they do not. And as the movie progresses, you can see one of the characters doing really well, and the other one not doing so well. Can you guess which one isn't doing so well? 'Cause it ain't Owen Wilson. Yeah, in quite a surprise twist for this, which I'm kind of amazed. Well, not amazed. I feel very interested by this choice, is the fact that Owen Wilson almost streams ahead with the knowledge. Absolutely has all this stuff that he's picked up and learned, and actually has a vague understanding of it, but keeps his old school ways and merges them with the new stuff that he's learned, which would make him fantastic as a lead protagonist. And then you have Vince Vaughn, who isn't getting it, gets it, thinks he screws up, and then, oh, here's the big emotional part of the story, people. Vince Vaughn decides he's holding the team back, so he decides to leave because it's for the team's own good. Again, predictable story. Annoyingly predictable story now. I was watching a video, little sidebar, I was watching a video not that long ago regarding a certain channel on YouTube where a reviewer talks about how he hates the whole liar reveal story. Hates that whole part of the story. And while I am inclined to agree that I'm not a massive fan of it, there are two exemptions that I've noticed. Number one, when it's done in a kids movie, it feels legitimately more painful than it does in any kind of grown, like, more adult type movie. Or, you know, a movie that's just for the main masses, not geared towards kids specifically. That is where it gets annoying. However, the only other exception is when it's the person who just walks away for seemingly no reason, because you've seen him do well on the stuff, and he's had so many setbacks, he would have left, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes earlier in the friggin' movie if that was his opinion, if that was his drive, if that was his mentality. But no, they saved that for this weird point in the movie where it shouldn't even be a factor in it, and it derails the movie for a good 10-15 minutes of Owen Wilson trying to get the kids back on track, and they all talk about how they need Vince Vaughn's character, and Vince Vaughn has buggered off by this point. He said, "It's for the team's own good, I'm out of here, oh my god, we're on bikes." Weird. But he buggers off because John Goodman's character has resurfaced at some point in the film, and he phones up the guys and says, "Look, I've got this new business that I'm trying to run for mobility scooters. I need you guys as my sales team." And they say no because they're doing this thing at Google. But of course, after Vince Vaughn screws up so badly that he has to leave the team for their own good, he ends up being that guy. He ends up being the flipping, the mobility scooter salesman. And of course, Owen Wilson then turns up and starts talking to him. "Dude, you gotta come back with us. You gotta come back because, you know, we got the this and the that and the blah 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 blah." And it's so painful because, again, in kids' movies, they talk about friendship, love, confidence, all that stuff. It's fine because, again, it's done in a way that you know, because it's geared towards kids, that's what it's aimed at, but you still feel like you get caught in somewhat of the hype towards it. In this, it just feels painful. And it feels so forced. And it just doesn't feel like it's doing something different or something unique to its section. One of the last challenges they have in the film, in order to win this job at Google, is to try and convince a business that isn't using Google to promote its business to start using Google. And they're trying and they're failing, and they're trying and they're failing with this pizza place. And then, of course, because Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson come back in through the door, all of a sudden, oh my god, they're amazing. They can do whatever, they can do no wrong, oh my god. And they end up going back to Google with all this pizza. They've convinced this guy who's running a pizza place to sort of franchise almost, which is nice. And, you know, and of course they win, and the underdogs win. Of course the underdogs win. That's the most predictable ending in an entire movie. And, you know, there's characters that are pairing off that, you know, you could have easily predicted would pair off. there's all these story elements that were going to end, that you knew were going to end a certain way because of the way they were introduced earlier in the movie, blah, blah, blah. And have you noticed a pattern? Predictable story. Very predictable story. But I could easily forgive this movie for a predictable story if there were good characters. And are there good characters? Well, I mean, again, Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, I know that this movie is trying something, and I know that it's trying to be almost like, these guys have paired up before and it's been funny. I've been told Wedding Crashers is hilarious. I'll be honest, I've yet to see Wedding Crashers, because it doesn't feel like my type of movie. But to be honest, The Internship wasn't my type of movie either, yet somehow I watched that. So, I don't know. But the thing that ultimately bugged me was that the story was predictable, and I was just hoping that the characters wouldn't be. And aside from a few ways that Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson play their roles in this movie, the characters feel like they were cut straight out of cardboard boxes. It's almost like, here's your cast for your next movie. Please cut around the dotted lines and you'll get the exact character that you want for this show. What is it you're doing? Select the film that you like. Oh, it's a comedy about underdogs? Then you'll need this character, this character, and this character. Please cut along the dotted lines and you'll have your character instantly. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel unique. It doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel anything. And yet I still found myself not hating this movie. Last week I talked about Clash of the Titans, and I hated Clash of the Titans. Yet this movie, which should make me angry, given the fact that I could predict pretty much everything that happened in this movie from the get-go, and I did guess, I got most of them right. There are a few that I actually did overly predict something a little too much, and it was like, okay, fine. But I could predict everything that was going to happen in this movie, and yet somehow I still found myself not hating it. I cannot bend this disc. I cannot do it. I cannot bend this disc. I bent and nearly destroyed my Clash of Titans copy, but for some reason can't do it with this. Why? To go back to my original point, these are movies that are meh. They're not particularly offensive, they're not particularly enjoyable, they're just meh. And with that in mind, I would like to ask you people in the audience, all 5 of you that will watch this video, I'm sure, unless of course you like and subscribe, please. Like and subscribe, please like and subscribe. Please, 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 please. But I would like you guys to write in the comments below, what movies have you watched that you feel are movies that make you meh? Movies that are meh to you. Because, frankly, I actually would like to watch some more films like this. Because, frankly, the plot's easy to follow. The characters are basically stock cutouts. Yet somehow I still find myself enjoying it. But hey, what do I know? I went and saw the Playmobil movie yesterday. What the hell do I know? Speaking of which, no, wait, I'll save that for another video. Maybe you'll get 2 videos next week. Who knows? Anyway, Randomfish, out.